Welcome to English Language, Grammar, Usage and Vocabulary. Synesis. We will discuss about synesis in English grammar and notional versus formal grammar for middle and high school students. In grammar book, you will find under every rule, they give exceptions. Actually, they are not exceptions. Most of them are synesis. When a rule is stated in a grammar book, after that they write exceptions. Actually, they are not exceptions. They are also grammar. That is what is called synesis. In most cases, the exceptions are synesis. They are notional grammar. The notional grammar is as real as formal grammar. So what is synesis is not exception to grammar. It is a more rational way of implementing grammar rules. So we will discuss synesis in English grammar and notional grammar versus formal grammar in English language grammar usage and vocabulary for middle and high school students. Now let us take one example to understand synesis. You can see in the picture a person. The person calls himself Mr. X and the person also calls himself Mr. Y. Mr. X and Mr. Y, two names, same person. Two names, same person. One could be a nickname or he could be under two different aliases. For instance, we have Chanakya and Kautilya, both referring to same person. In history, you will find Chanakya is also called Kautilya. And there are several examples. So, Mr. X and Mr. Y, two different names, but one person. Now, how do you say that? X and Y is the same person, or X and Y refer to the same person. When you say X and Y is the same person, you are using a singular verb, is, singular verb. And when you say X and Y refer to the same person, you are using a plural verb, refer, not refers. No S at the end. Refer. So plural verb. So when you are saying X and Y is the same person, singular verb. When you are saying X and Y refer to the same person, you are using a plural verb. One is synesis, two is formal grammar. One is synesis. When you say X and Y is, although they are two different names, you are saying, say Chanakya and Kautilya is the same person, two different names followed by a singular verb, that is synesis. And when you are saying X and Y refer to the same person, when you are using a plural verb, that is formal grammar. So X and Y is the same person is synesis. X and Y refer to the same person is formal grammar. Now we will explain exactly why we use is in the first case and why we use refer in the second case. Now before that, this example would perhaps give you an idea. This is a better example. Bread and butter is his favorite breakfast. Right? Bread and butter is his favorite breakfast. And another sentence, some bread and butter were spoiled by rice. Some bread and butter were spoiled by rice. In first sentence, you are using a singular verb, bread and butter is. And in the second case, some bread and butter were spoiled, you are using a plural verb. One is synesis, notional grammar. Two is formal grammar. Now, see the picture. You will understand the difference. Look at the picture. On the left side, we have bread and butter is the breakfast. And on the right side, you have bread and butter are being spoiled by rice. If you can understand the picture, it will give you a clear idea why we are using synesis or singular verb in the first case and why we are using a formal grammar or plural verb in the second case. Look at the picture carefully and then we will explain, because this is a better example, it is easier to understand. So look at the picture. Now we will explain what synesis is and what formal grammar is. Synesis comes from Greek word synesis. Synesis comes from Greek word synesis means understanding. In Greek, synesis means understanding. Here we go by the sense or idea rather than by the form. We go by the sense or idea rather than by the form. That is, meaning or idea is more important and prevails over formal grammar. Bread and butter is his breakfast. Bread alone is not his breakfast. Butter alone is not his breakfast. Bread with butter spread on it is his breakfast. So you can't give him bread on Monday and then butter on Tuesday, then bread on Wednesday and butter on Thursday. Not that. You can't give him bread only. You can't give him butter only. But bread and butter like a sandwich. So bread and on the top of it butter, butter spread on bread, right? Butter spread on a slice of bread. That is his breakfast. Not that bread is his breakfast and butter is his breakfast. If we give him only bread, he won't eat it. If you give him only butter, he won't eat it. But it has to be bread and butter together, then only it will make a breakfast. So bread and butter form a single combo, a single combination, like a sandwich. So what is his breakfast? Bread and butter combined as a single item. That's why we are using bread and butter is. We are going by the idea, we are going by the sense, and that is what is called notional grammar or synesis. Notional grammar, the meaning or the idea or the sense is more important than the formal grammar. Bread is one item, butter is one item. No, here bread and butter make single item. The sense is more important than looking at bread and butter as two different words. Mutton sandwich could be the perfect example. It conveys a single combo, right? Mutton sandwich, although it is meat between slices of bread. What is mutton sandwich? Meat between two slices of bread. Meat between two pieces of bread. So you are not saying meat and bread as two separate items. You are saying mutton sandwich is a single item. If you look at meat as a separate item and bread as a separate item, then you are eating two different things. But you say sandwich is one thing. You are eating one single thing sandwich. So just like sandwich is, alright, you would say sandwich is. You would consider sandwich as a single item and use a singular verb. But actually it means meat and bread is. Sandwich is. Mutton sandwich is. Means meat and bread is. So we say bread and meat is. We go by the sense of meaning. That is notional grammar. Notional grammar, as opposed to formal grammar, is synesis. But in bread and butter were spoiled by rats, we go by the form. Why? Because bread was a separate item, butter was a separate item. Bread was kept in a different place, maybe, and butter was kept in a different place. They were spoiled, maybe by two different rats. It's quite possible that only bread was spoiled, butter escaped the rat's attention. Or it could be that only butter was spoiled. Somehow, bread, the rat did not look at it. But bread and butter, two different items, could have been in two different places. Bread on the table and butter on the kitchen counter. It could have been in two different places. They could have been by two different rats. One rat spoiled bread, a different rat spoiled butter. So we are taking as two different items. And that is formal grammar, two nouns joined by and taking a plural verb. Because bread and butter are regarded as two different items, spoiled by rats, maybe by different rats, maybe they were kept in different places, maybe they were spoiled on different days. On Monday, the bread was spoiled by a rat and the butter was spoiled on Tuesday. So it may be two different days. They have been kept in two different places. They may have been kept in two different places. They may have been spoiled by two different rats. So separate items. And it's quite possible that only bread was spoiled. It is possible that only butter was spoiled. So bread was spoiled and butter was spoiled. Two different items. Formal grammar, plural verb. But in case of breakfast, you can't say bread is his breakfast and butter is his breakfast. Here you can say bread is spoiled by rats and butter is spoiled by rats. But there you cannot say bread is his breakfast and butter is his breakfast. So here we go by the formal grammar because these are two different items, not one single item. Now here is another example. Cricket is Sachin Tendulkar's passion. Cricket is Sachin Tendulkar's passion. You can also say bat and ball is Sachin Tendulkar's passion. Why? Bat and ball, two different things. Why? They form an inseparable pair. Sachin can't do only with bat without ball or with only ball without bat. Hence the singular verb is notional grammar or synesis. Bat and ball together, an inseparable pair forming what is called a representative for cricket. Right? They represent cricket. Cricket is, bat and ball is. Bat and ball together represent cricket. So bat and ball in combination here means cricket. Right? So cricket is, bat and ball is. So bat and ball is not actually bat as a separate item and ball as a separate item. It is representing cricket. That is why we are using singular verb, and also the reason why no article is used before bat and ball. We are not saying a bat and a ball or the bat and the ball. No article because actually bat and ball is representing cricket. So cricket is his favorite. Similarly, bat and ball is his favorite. Cricket is his passion. Bat and ball is his passion. Bat and ball, a combination representing cricket. Now we come back to our first example, which perhaps is a bit more difficult to explain by logic. Bread and butter was easy. Bat and ball, that was easy, but this may be a bit more difficult. A tricky convention established by long usage. X and Y is the same person. We are looking at a single person, so we are using the notional grammar and singular verb. X and Y refer to the same person. Here X is a name, Y is a name. X is a different noun, Y is a different noun, and we are using the formal grammar and we are using plural verb. But the logic is difficult to explain. So unlike bread and butter, thanks to those rats, thank the rats because they made the understanding easy. But here we cannot explain it logically. We must perhaps just regard it as established by custom and usage that X and Y, two different noun, is because we are looking at the same person, but X as a name and Y as a name refer to the same person, plural verb, X and Y being regarded as two different nouns. Why? The logic is a bit blurred. So let us just say it that this is established by custom and usage, and the logic is not so clear as in case of bread and butter or as in case of bat and ball. So once again, we give the pictures to clarify what is synesis and notional grammar. Bread and butter is my favorite breakfast. This is regarded as single item, although you can see butter on the top of the slice of bread. You can see that butter is smeared, right? Butter is spread on the slice of bread, but we are regarding it as a single item. And here you see two different rats, one rat spoiling butter and one rat spoiling bread. So bread and butter are being spoiled by rats. Plural verb. You can see two different rats, two different items. No connection. No connection. Although we have drawn it together, it may be that bread was in a different place and butter was in a different place. This rat may have spoiled the bread on Monday, and this rat may have spoiled the butter on Tuesday. So these are two different items. But on the left side, when you call breakfast, it should be bread and butter combined, butter spread on bread as a single item. And here we can see some liquor tea, I think, looking black. Anyhow, I don't very much like a liquor tea, but that's the image I got. So bread and butter together, butter on the top of bread, single item. Here, bread as a separate item, butter as a separate item, maybe spoiled on different days, maybe kept in different places and spoiled by different rats. So here we regard it as two different items, and here we regard it as one single item. So in most grammar books, sentences like X and Y is the same person or bread and butter is his breakfast would be given as exception to rule. They are not exceptions. They are synesis or notional grammar. In most cases, you will find they are given as exceptions. They are not exceptions. They are synesis or notional grammar. A notional grammar construct is often more sensible than formal grammar. Sometimes notional grammar construct could be more logical, more rational, more sensible than formal grammar. So actually, this is synesis or notional grammar. This is also grammar, not exceptions. Not exceptions, but we are deviating from formal grammar and coming to notional grammar or synesis. So that was our brief discussion on synesis. In synesis, our focus is on the sense or meaning or idea, and sometimes it is more rational, more logical, more sensible than going by the grammatical form. So, what most grammar books call exceptions are really not exceptions. They are instances of synesis or notional grammar. In grammar books, you'll find exceptions. In most cases, they are not exceptions. They are instances of synesis or notional grammar. And notional grammar is as real grammar as formal grammar. So, we shall come back with more interesting videos. Till then, thank you and goodbye.